Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Circle Direct Podcast where we discuss all things health and wellness. I'm your host, Ifeda Osuntui, a pharmacist and a gluten-free advocate. So on today's episode, we're going to be discussing the differences that occurs when people have dairy allergies. Now, we have been trying to create awareness on certain food allergies, and today we'll be enlightening you more on the differences you will be experiencing, whether you have it being casein allergy or lactose intolerance. One thing I realized is that a lot of people have not been able to differentiate between casein allergy and lactose intolerance. A lot of people, well, not a lot, but we have individuals in our society that immediately they consume anything that is made from dairy, that is a byproduct of milk, they have some symptoms. Some symptoms come as bloating, some have diarrhea, while some they discover that they have rashes on their skin, they itch. Sometimes even it results to inflammation on the skin that is called dermatitis. So for today's episode, we're going to be shedding more light on the differences of these two occurrences and how you can detect them, and then of course also know how to properly seek medical attention. So the first thing we'll discuss is what is dairy allergies. Dairy allergy is when you consume anything from cow's milk that can lead to some various sorts of undesirable results. Now, we have two types of allergies that occurs when you take dairy. The first one is what we call lactose intolerance. Now, lactose intolerance, as the name implies, means that there's a particular sugar in milk called lactose. Anytime an individual that has an intolerance to this milk product ingests this milk, he will develop things like diarrhea. It could be bloating, abdominal cramps. And the reason being is that there is an enzyme called lactase. Lactase is what is used by the body to break down lactose, which is a sugar found in milk. So definitely, when you cannot break down the sugar starts to ferment in your abdominal cavity. And then you can start having issues like diarrhea, bloating, discomfort. So anyone that has lactose intolerance, those are the symptoms they would experience. So the difference now is with casein. Casein is actually a protein found in milk. Now, the body, when you consume milk and it sees the casein in it, it would look at that casein as an enemy of some sort. It's almost like when you have like a sting bite and then the poison from that sting bite is introduced into the body would want to find a way to eradicate it. So it's the same thing that you experience with casein. But unlike a sting bite, when you consume milk, it goes into your abdominal cavity. So there is what we call an immune response. So in that immune response, the body is trying to destroy or fight that casein. So there are some symptoms that show up during that process, and these are the adverse results that your body will not like, sort of things like itching, wheezing, inflammation of the skin, and in some severe cases anaphylaxis reaction. So when you now discover that you have these two occurrences, you have to now ensure that the first thing is that you don't want to just guess that, okay, that means I'm allergic to milk, or I don't have this or I have that. You have to first of all seek medical intervention. Then you have to now ensure that after seeking that medical intervention, it is advisable to also seek a professional service that would advise you and guide you on, okay, what are the options you can start taking since it has been certified that you cannot take anything that has dairy. Now, apart from going on and saying, okay, I can't take dairy, definitely you still want to enjoy life. You want to take things like your cereal. If you are someone that loves taking coffee, you want to have your milk or whatever milk you want to add to it. So we're going to now discuss what are the options that are available for you to take. So now, since you already know that you cannot, consume anything that has dairy in it anymore, so your options are plant-based. So I'm going to now be sharing with you 4 plant-based alternatives that you can use for your cooking, for your cereals, even those of you that love to bake. And you need something like a liquid to add to it. So the first thing we'll discuss is almond. Almond milk is a very, very good option. It has a very lovely taste. It actually even has some beneficial minerals in it that can actually be of nutritional value to you. And then how can you make your almond milk? You can either buy them pre-made in your supermarket, or you can just get the nuts, soak them for 24 hours, add a bit of water to it, blend it, and then sieve out the milk. But you always have to ensure that once you make such milk, you have to make them fresh and consume them within a day or two. And of course, it's also essential you store them in the fridge. Then the other one you have, which is very, very popular in our country, Nigeria, is coconut. Coconut milk is something that everybody knows. And the same thing, apart from also being a plant-based, a dairy-free alternative, it also has essential fatty acids in it. So that's are things that are good for brain development. So how do you make your coconut milk? You just get your coconut meat, you would dry them, you grate them, you add them to your blender with water, you blend. After blending, you would pass it through a sieve, or if you have a fine cloth, then squeeze out the milk. That too can be used for your cooking. For those of you that like coconut rice, I mean, you don't need to buy store-bought canned coconut milk anymore. You can make them on your own at home. Then you also have your soya beans milk. Now, soya beans milk is very nutritional. It has protein in it. So, and the same thing, you get your soya beans from your market, you soak it, wash, add to your blender with a bit of water, sieve out the liquid and use it for whatever. You can even use it for those of you that have children. It's very rich in protein. You can use it for your children's cereal. So if your children, like for instance, you want to prepare them for school and you want them to have like a rich source of protein, soya beans is a very, very good option. Then you also have oats. Yes, oats can actually be turned into oats milk. I'm sure it's something that a lot of people have not heard before, but it's the same thing. You can get your oats. Now for the oats, you don't need to wash it. You just add it to your blender, blend it, sieve out the liquid, and use it for whatever, whether it's your cereal, whether it's even your baking, whether it's for your tea, your coffee. Then another one I'm going to mention is rice milk. Rice milk also, though it's not really common in our part of the country, rice milk is a very, very good addition to people that are going on the plant-based route. You can use it to make your tea. You can use it for your cereal. That also, you wash your rice properly. You would, and the thing about the rice you're going to use is either your short or long grain rice. You don't use your native rice to make rice milk because it might have a strange taste. So after blending it, you sieve it out. Another one I would mention is tiger nut milk. Tiger nut milk it's becoming quite popular in our country. And that one, you can actually get your tiger nut milk in supermarkets across Nigeria, but you can also make it yourself. The reason I'm an advocate for making these things yourself is that sometimes when you have all this plant-based milk bought from the supermarket, a lot of them have additives, they have colorants, they have artificial flavors added to it. So if you're already someone that you are prone to food allergies, it's advisable that you try and make things fresh. But the disadvantage of the tiger nut milk is that it doesn't last long if it's not properly stored. Tiger nut milk is something that the day you make it, it starts to ferment. So if you don't have consistent power supply, it's advisable that it's the day you make it that you consume it. Or if you know that you can freeze it, it's advisable that immediately after you make it, you just put it in your bottle and freeze it. So, one other thing people always ask me is that, okay, I have dairy allergy. Is it possible for me to take yogurt? That's a very, very good question. Now, yogurt, the beauty of yogurt is that your yogurt is actually made from when you add what they call live culture. That is beneficial bacteria. You add it to milk. Then I know what the bacteria does. The bacteria actually starts to ferment the sugar in the milk. So the particular lactose that is causing abdominal issues for those that cannot tolerate it, the bacteria already ferments it. So there was even a research done that for those that are lactose intolerant, that they are able to tolerate yogurt. But for those that have casein allergies, I'm trying to make you understand, there is a difference between lactose intolerance and casein allergy. For those that have casein allergy, you can't take cow-based yogurt. You have to go for alternative. So if you know that you are lactose intolerant, you can still, cope with yogurt. But if you know that it is casein allergies you have, then it is advisable you go for plant-based yogurt. And now we have yogurt made from coconut milk. We have yogurt even made from almond milk. Then one other thing I would love to mention is that, you'll be like, okay, is it just dairy that I cannot stay clear of? What other things should I also be informed about? Now, we know that a lot of times, even when it comes to these allergies, people tend to outgrow it as they get older. So it is more seen with children. Now, if you have a child that tends to exhibit some certain types of food allergies, especially when it comes to milk or dairy allergies, that means that that child will be lacking in calcium and vitamin D. So it is very, very essential that immediately you discovered that your child is allergic to dairy, you make sure that you start to fortify the child's meal time with calcium and vitamin D. Yes, we have a lot of products or plants that have vitamin D in them, but at the same time, because of the fast-paced life of parents now, they might not be able to prepare those meals consistently. So you just go for supplementation. You buy your supplements or you buy children's formulas that are dairy-free but have been fortified with calcium and vitamin D. There's so many in the market right now. Then, of course, you can go to your pharmacy, you buy supplements, you buy vitamins that are calcium enriched and also vitamin D in suspension form, because, as a child, it will be difficult for you to give the child a tablet. So as we've come to the end of today's show, we always come here to make sure that we enlighten you on everything we are discussing. Now, when you are making your decisions, ensure that you always seek professional advice. Don't just go around and listen to what some other people say. Some people might have a condition that seems similar to yours, but they are totally different. So you must make sure you see a medical practitioner. Then when you're going to start changing your child's diet, also seek a dietitian's advice, and then read labels. One thing that I realized is that our seasoning, it has milk products in them. So you might not know that, okay, my child is on a plant-based or dairy-free formula, but you're still using some certain seasonings. So you have to start reading labels. Anytime you see anything that this product contains milk, this thing is made from milk derivative, that means that you should stay clear of it. So thank you so much for listening to our program on Circle Direct Podcast. Always remember to share, like, and subscribe. And then be free to drop comments on any other area you love us to discuss on. So until I speak to you next time, take care of your health and stay safe.